are we aware first that we live in disorder? Not the definition of that word, but the actual fact of contradiction, of division. Me and mine and you and yours, we and they, and all that division that goes on within ourselves, the constant conflict. All that indicates disorder. And how do you observe that disorder? Say, for example, as we took yesterday, attachment in any form is a factor of disorder, and also a factor, as we pointed out yesterday, as we discovered yesterday, part of fear. So, attachment to a person, to an idea, to a conclusion, to a past memory, to a piece of furniture, and so on, does breed disorder. Do we see that fact? And the freedom from attachment without becoming isolated, callous, indifferent, does that bring about certain order? Because what we are talking about is that when we have put everything in order, then there is great deal of energy, tremendous energy. And you need that energy, one needs that energy to go most profoundly into oneself. So we are asking, discovering for ourselves, first the disorder we live, and the nature of that disorder, which is part of attachment, fear, and pleasure, and so on. And without directing it in a particular direction, hoping that will bring order, but just to be aware of this disorder without any movement away from it. Are we meeting each other? Does the speaker making the thing clear? That is, may I go into it? All right. Suppose I live in disorder, inwardly. I may have marvelous order outwardly, but inwardly perhaps I'm in great disorder. And I ask myself, what am I to do? Is that disorder different from me? Or I am that disorder? You understand this question? This is really important to understand, because if the disorder is different from me, then I can do something about it. Then I can change the pattern, move from one corner to another corner, or bring psychological order by suppressing, by control, by this and by that. I can do something about it. But if the disorder is not different from me, which is a fact, that the disorder is me, then the problem arises. What happens then? You're following all this? You're not listening to me, you're listening to yourself. Then perhaps you will bring about a change. But if you merely listen to the speaker, you can listen to him for the rest of your life, and I hope you won't. And If you merely listen to him, you won't change. But if you yourself see that you live in disorder, and that disorder is not different from you, fundamentally, basically, you are that disorder. Then, what takes place? Before, you could do something about it, because you separated yourself from it, and you operated on it. And therefore, in that there was constant conflict, betrayal. One day you could do it, the next day you couldn't do it, and so on, fluctuating from day to day. Whereas the fact is, you are that disorder. That's a fact, not a conclusion which the speaker has come to and is trying to impose it on you, which is not. We're not doing propaganda of any kind, trying to convince you of anything. But if that is when the disorder is me, I can't do anything about it, which means I can't operate on it as I used to before. So I remain in this total disorder. Are you doing this as we are talking, or is it just a verbal accumulation? It is, I am not different from that disorder. That disorder exists because I have divided myself from what I have called disorder. That's the base, that's one of the major factors of disorder. I've discovered that. Wherever there is a separation between me and psychologically what I observe, that division is one of the major factors of disorder. That is, when I call myself a Hindu or myself a Muslim or Christian, Catholic or a British or a French or German, whatever it is, the division is a factor of disorder. Jew and the Arab, you've got obvious example every day that's happening. So psychologically, when there is division between disorder and myself, I am encouraging and cultivating disorder. Whereas the fact is, the disorder is myself. And therefore, the realization, the truth of that brings order.